Om Ajnanaatimirandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chakshurumilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Deva Shri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavanishwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari. Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Jaya Gopijana Vallabha Girivaradhari. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yashodanandana Brajajana Ranjana. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Yamunatira Vanacharya. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Rama, Rama Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare. Goda Premanandi, Haribo. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Okay. Thank you very much. I hope everyone is feeling well, happy by chanting Hare Krishna. It's a nice experience. All right. We are going to read from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 2, text 66. Nasti buddhira yuktasya, nacha yuktasya bhavana, nacha bhavayata shantir, ashantasya kuta sukam. One who is not connected with the Supreme in Krishna consciousness can have neither transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind, without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? Purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Unless one is in Krishna consciousness, there is no possibility of peace. So it is confirmed in the 5th chapter, text 29, that when one understands that Krishna is the only enjoyer of all the good results of sacrifice and penance, that He is the proprietor of all universal manifestations, and that He is the real friend of all living entities, then only can one have real peace. Therefore, if one is not in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be a final goal for the mind. Disturbance is due to want of an ultimate goal. And when one is certain that Krishna is the enjoyer, proprietor and friend of everyone and everything, then one can with a steady mind bring about peace. Therefore, one who is engaged without a relationship with Krishna is certainly always in distress and is without peace, however much he may make a show of peace and spiritual advancement in life. Krishna consciousness is a self-manifested peaceful condition which can be achieved only in relationship with Krishna. Om Agyana Timirandasya Gyananjana Salakaya Chakshuru Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkest of ignorance, and my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada, opened my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my humble respectful obeisances unto him. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So, Krishna is explaining how to achieve real peace. Nowadays, there's a war between Russia and Ukraine, and a lot of people very much distressed, not only in Ukraine, I mean all over the world. Nobody likes war and people dying and suffering, you know. There are devotees in Ukraine. There are like more than 50 temples there. And every day I'm receiving news from them, and I'm in touch with some of them. And the biggest temple they have has a big basement, so they are taking shelter down there, and they're having enough food, thanks to the Lord. And they are receiving devotees who live outside, married devotees. They are sheltering them also there. And not only that, devotees are going to war areas and distributing prasad, food, offered to the Lord to help people also in general. So this is very important. Yes. Go ahead.
What I'm telling Maharaj is that it's a very, very delicate situation. We have many, many, many devotees in Russia and temples. And I just got a message from our communications director. We have to be very, very careful what we say. So Maharaj didn't know that, so I'm just adding that.
I already know.
And I'm supposed to say something officially after you're done with your talk.
You can do it right now if you want. I'm okay.
Well, I'm sorry to interrupt your lecture.
Go ahead.
All right, I'm sorry. I really am sorry, Maharaj. I'll be quick. As Maharaj was accurately saying, we have about 3,000 initiated devotees in Ukraine. We have our largest temple in Europe, temple building, is in Kiev. The deities are over 6 feet tall, the Radha Krishna deities, marble deities. They can't be moved. So the city is a very difficult situation. We've had 3 devotees, as of this morning, had already been shot by snipers. So it's a real tough spot. We have 3 farms in Ukraine, and we have a number of devotees who fled to those farms. The devotees, this is the wonderful nature of a devotee, dedicated devotee. They can't move the large marble deities. They got them in there by putting the deities and building the roof on top with a crane. So you can't get the deities out. If you can't move the deities, then the brahmacharis, instead of going to the farms and taking the devotees, said, we can't leave the deities. We're not leaving. Then the householder community in Kiev said, well, if the brahmacharis aren't leaving, we're not going to abandon the brahmacharis. So they've all sheltered there in Kiev with the deities. And when they're not, the two basement floors are, they've turned into bomb shelters. And when the air raid sirens aren't going off, as soon as there's a break, they're going out and distributing Krishna Prasad to the neighbors. Now, there's devotees in Russia, there's many sides of the story. We're not making any political statement at all. We're just saying it is a very difficult spot for the devotees in Ukraine. As of this morning, there's about close to 200,000 people have fled into Poland. And we have temples in Poland. And so the devotees, with government permission, we've set up a whole prasadam pavilion. We've got about 100 devotees there now with a portable army kitchen cooking, because the people are coming across the border with nothing to eat, no blankets, nothing. So we're not, the devotees said, we're not asking for any money now. We don't know what the future is going to bring. But all we ask is that their prayer for protection of the devotees. So you can just picture the devotees there in Kiev protecting their deities, and just may Lord Nrsingadev protect the Vaishnavas. That's all they're asking for. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Maharaj.
Thank you very much, Maharaj, for giving us this very important information about the situation of the devotees in Ukraine. We should always remember also that in Russia there are many devotees and temples also. So they are advising us not to put in the media anything against Russia or any political statement, because that also may give them trouble in Russia itself, you know. So please be careful. Just pray to Krishna, to Lord Nrsingadev for their protection, and that's the best thing we can do for now. No? So, but this reminds me, where I was in South America, Venezuela, when the first war started between America and Iraq. You remember that, I guess, some of you, and when America invaded Iraq at that time. So the media called us at the temple in Caracas and asked us for a meeting of all, spiritual religion people, yoga people, and come together and pray for peace, So we went there, group of devotees, we were chanting and, Hare Krishna, and I was interviewed by the TV, so I said, that's very nice that we are all coming together to pray for peace. Nobody wants suffering, peace, because war means suffering. People dying, people suffering. So nobody wants that. But at the same time, if we don't understand that why there is so much suffering and war in the world, because we are not letting the animal society to live in peace. We can't, human beings, expect peace if we don't allow the animals live in peace. We are killing animals by the millions every day all over the world, in slaughterhouses. And do we think that's not going to be any reaction to that? It's going to be a reaction, of course. So in the 5th chapter, text 29, Krishna is saying, Bhoktara yagya tapasam sarva loka maheshwaram suridam sarva bhutanam gyatamam shantim richati. If you want to have real peace in your life, not only personally, but in society all over too, we have to acknowledge that God, Krishna, is the supreme enjoyer supreme proprietor of all cosmic manifestation, and the best friend of everything and everyone. Only then we can have real peace. Isn't? So there's action-reaction, is the law of karma. If you don't understand the law of karma, then people don't know what to do and not what to do. And that brings suffering. Suffering is mainly due to ignorance, because we don't know what is the purpose of human life. We don't respect the life of other living beings. Then we get in trouble ourselves and to others too. So Krishna is telling Arjuna here that he's using psychology here. He's saying, you don't want to, you want to have peace, isn't it? But how can you have peace if your mind is not connected with me? Unless you have connection with me through Krishna consciousness, you can't have transcendental intelligence nor a steady mind. And without which there is no possibility of peace. And how can there be any happiness without peace? That's a fact. A person may have millions of dollars, a lot of comfort and commodities and everything, all fancy things he may want in life. But if he doesn't have a peace of mind, he's not happy. Because of greed. Gandhi said, there is enough in the world for everyone, but there is not enough for one very greedy person. He wants more and more and more. And that what brings these problems in the world, because social unrest, and people are disturbed in mind because they don't know there is a spiritual goal in life that we should aspire for. That if we acknowledge that God, Krishna, is the supreme proprietor of everything, we will respect whatever God has given to everyone. We will not want to take anything from anyone. So that's the whole point. There cannot be peace unless you have peace yourself, starting with ourselves. And that peace of mind can be achieved by these three things. Acknowledgement that God, Krishna, is our best friend. When we accept him as our real and best friend, then we hear his advice. He's telling us, you can't be happy in this world because this world is a place of suffering. Jamma mrityu jara vyadi dukkha dosha nudarshanam. You have to always see in front of you these miseries, birth, old age, disease, and death. Isn't? So that's the reality, that's the truth. We need a little shaking to start understand and assimilate the fact that without Krishna, we cannot be happy in this world. With Krishna, hell can be heaven. And without Krishna, heaven can be hell. That's a fact. So, with money you can buy many things, nice car, nice home, good food, but you can't buy the power to digest it. Nor if you have a nice, comfortable bed, you can't buy the ability to sleep. You may have a sleepless night, because you are worried about something. So we have to understand, this is a very important point, that no matter how many material facilities we may have, that can ease our life a little bit, but that cannot give us real happiness. Real happiness is a different thing. Now, talking about intelligence, Krishna is saying transcendental intelligence, not just any intelligence. And what transcendental intelligence means? First, let us explain what is material intelligence. Some years ago in South America, the government instituted a ministry to help people become intelligent. Didn't last it for long. After a few years, 2-3 years was dismissed. They couldn't help anybody become intelligent. So this reminds me of the story of King Akbar and his minister Birbal. Once Akbar asked Birbal, people are born intelligent or they can become intelligent? And Birbal said, in my opinion, if there is a real need, anybody can be intelligent. Well, that's an interesting theory. You have to prove it to me. Birbal said, yes, of course. Announce, let the soldiers go and announce with drums and, cymbals all over the city that all people from such to such age must come such and such day, such and such time to the palace, and they have to throw 1 liter of milk in the palace pool. Will be half empty. They have to fill it up with milk. It's a royal command. They have to obey the king. All right, see what will happen. So the day came, and Birbal and Akbar, the king, they disguised themselves so nobody would recognize them. And they were around the pool to see what was going to happen. And they started seeing thousands of people coming with a jar in their hand. The first man who came, they asked him, we are pilgrims, we are not from here. We are surprised to see with so many people with jar in their hand. Is this any particular ceremony you have? No, we have a very extravagant king. And he ordered us to throw 1 liter of milk in the pool. And are you going to do that? No, because I'm not a fool. What are you going to do? I'm going to throw a liter of water. With so much milk, who will notice? Now, to their surprise, everybody thought the same thing. Nobody threw milk. Everybody threw water in the pool. So Birbal proved this point. If there is a real need, anybody can be intelligent. Of course, that's material intelligence. But we are talking about transcendental or spiritual intelligence. That's only can be given by God, by Krishna. It's already there in the soul. The soul is Satchitananda, eternal, blissful, and full of knowledge. But our knowledge is covered, our intelligence now is covered by ignorance and passion, lust and greed, and anger, this passion and ignorance. So to awaken our real spiritual intelligence, we need to clean our heart from all dirty things. And for that, the process recommended in this age of quarrel, misunderstanding, confusion, violence, hypocrisy, so many bad things in this age, the best process to awaken our spiritual intelligence, to understand God, to understand who we are and the purpose of our life, is by chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we should always chant with faith that this process is effective. It will happen. Why? Because Krishna said it will happen. So that much faith we should have. Sometimes somebody tells me, well, I've been chanting so long, but I don't know what's going on. I ask you, how much you are chanting? Well, I'm chanting 8 rounds. Well, chant 16 then. Well, I'm chanting 16, then chant 32. If you go to a doctor and he give you medicine, and you go back after 2 weeks, not having effect on me. How many pills I told you to take? 2 per day. Then make it 4 now. See what will happen. So that's the way of spiritual progress. We have to keep in our mind the proper understanding, who we are, why we are suffering, what is the goal of life, the ultimate goal of life, not the immediate material goals that one may have in life, either job, family, whatever. But the ultimate goal to achieve after quitting up this body. Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, 8th chapter, text 5, he said, Antakale chamam eva smaram muktva kalevaram yaprayati samadbhavam yati nasti atra samshayaha. Whoever at the end of his life remembers me alone, undoubtedly he will come back to me. So the goal of human life is to go back to God, to His eternal kingdom, be eternally happy there. That's the goal for every human being. But due to ignorance, we are covered by so many false ideas. The mind is the capital of all, plans, how to enjoy this world, how to achieve this and that. So the mind can be our friend and can be our enemy also. If the mind is too much attached to material enjoyment, material things, then it becomes our enemy because it is drifting us from the real goal of life. So Parad Maharaj told his father Hiranyakashipu, besides an uncontrolled mind and deviated mind, there is no other enemy in this world. Once a devotee asked Prabhupada, who's the worst enemy of the devotee? Prabhupada said, the devotee himself. Because he listened to his mind. There was one Christian saint, Saint Teresa. She said, the mind is the mad woman of the house. The house is the body. And the mad woman of the house is the mind. If somebody is mad and is talking to you, you don't pay too much attention to what the person is saying, is it? Otherwise, you will become mad too. So we don't pay attention to crazy people, what they're saying. There is a saying that there is no thing that a goat can't eat or a foolish man can say. So we have to hear from spiritual people who are actually in the path of spiritual progress. Otherwise, we will be taken away by so many opinions about so many things. And Krishna told Arjuna, try to overcome whatever flowery language are there in the Vedas about elevation to heavenly planets or money, fame, power. All these things are temporary. They cannot give us real happiness. Real happiness comes when we have real peace. And real peace comes when we are in harmony with God, with Krishna, by accepting Him as our real friend, as a real proprietor and enjoyer. If everybody accepts that Krishna is the real proprietor of everything, there will be no more corruption in the world. Everybody will not steal anything from anybody. So that's the real peace formula. To recognize God as the supreme proprietor, enjoyer, and friend of everyone. Then we will not want to harm anyone. So thank you very much for coming and taking part in the Krishna consciousness philosophy and movement. We have a few minutes. If you want to have any comment or question, please do. Yes, please.
Can the devotees provide Bhagavad Gita in Russian to Putin?
Of course they did.
They did?
They did give him Bhagavad Gita, yes.
And the same thing to the Ukraine? Has
The
that been
same
given?
thing, you should read it more.
That means, what does that mean? That means Gita doesn't work? Or
No, that means they haven't read it yet.
Well, give him something so it can be read.
We
Put it
should.
in audio. I'm not
Yeah.
political. I am not political. I am just stating the statement.
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
not
that-
a political.
About Bhagavad Gita, it's okay. Yeah, yeah, that's true. So Bhagavad Gita is the solution for everyone, you know. I mean, and devotee tried to give it to very important people everywhere. When the Pope went to Mexico, one devotee at the airport gifted him the Bhagavad Gita in Spanish. Well, he's Spanish speaking from Argentina, so he accepted, he appreciated the book, you know. And we have very good relationship with all different religions because we try to have harmony, you know, peace and understanding, you know, respecting everyone's belief. So at the same time, we want people to know about the message of Bhagavad Gita. No? So the message of Bhagavad Gita is how to love God, how to have peace all over the world and in our own life, in our own mind, you know. And this can be achieved by this process, Bhakti Yoga. The union with the Supreme through Bhakti, through love and service. That's the process. Beautiful process. No? Anybody else have a comment or question? Yes?
There's that verse in the Gita, Brahma Bhuvana Loka,
Yes.
Punarvatina Arjuna.
Mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjamma na vidyate.
It seems from that verse that this problem is all over the universe. From the highest planet to the lowest, all are places of misery.
That's completely true. But Krishna say, but whoever comes to me, they don't have to take birth again in this world. So that's Krishna's promise. And we should have full faith in Krishna's promise. Yes.
You know, you said, you know, if the chanting, I chanted, didn't do anything for me, so we'll chant more, you know. So obviously I accept that reply. But you know, all the faiths, they just say, just believe me, trust me, just do what I say, just, you know. But why should I believe you more than this person or that person? And
No,
they all make the same cheap promise.
Krishna doesn't make cheap promises. Whatever he say, it will come true. He promised Kunti Devi to bring her 5 sons, the Pandavas, safe and sound after the battlefield of Kurukshetra. And he fulfilled this promise. And Kunti Devi glorified Krishna, saying, my dear Lord, even the sun and moon can fall from their orbit, the star can fall, but your promise will never fail. You know? So we have Krishna is not an ordinary person, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We are imperfect beings, but if we repeat what Krishna is saying, what we are saying is perfect, because we are repeating Krishna's words. So if he's saying, I promise you this, Jamma karma chame divyam evam yuveti tattvataha tyaktadeham punar jamma naiti mameti sarjuna. Those who understand in true the transcendental divine nature of my birth and activities do not come again to this material world of suffering. Rather, they come back to my eternal kingdom. So that is Krishna's promise. And if we are devotees of Krishna, or we want to be devotee of Krishna, this much faith we need to have, that his promise is real. Everybody is making promises. Politicians, this, that, they're making promises. And most of the time they don't fulfill them. But Krishna always fulfills his promise. Yayatamam prapadyentam stataima bhajamyaham. In the way they surrender to me, I will give them protection. No? And devotees know that at every step there is danger in this world. Padam padam ya vipadam nate sham. So we are not surprised. There are problems in the world, war, death, suffering. We are not surprised. This is part of this life. And the only solution is spiritual life, Krishna consciousness. Go to our eternal home. This is not our real home. You know. Sometimes people ask why God allowed these things to happen. God is allowing us to have our free will. And if we misuse it, that is not His fault. It is our fault. Isn't? So we can't blame God for the suffering of anybody, because we are creating our own happiness, our own distress by our own actions. Isn't? You agree with that? Very good. Yes, please. Hare Krishna.
I just wanted to say that thank you for coming. I don't is this on?
It's okay.
I have a loud voice.
Is that?
What I learned since I've been here, since 2005, is that one of the worst things to create in my life. They can hear. When I came in 2005, I learned the Guru Puja. That's the most powerful. What they tell me before Guru Puja, don't blaspheme the devotees. Keep your heart clean.
Very good
That's about
advice.
it. That's it.
Very good advice.
I needed to learn that.
Yes. Very
And
good.
then the chanting worked. Hare Krishna.
The chanting is very helpful, and definitely is very
You gotta
helpful.
clean your heart.
Yeah, the chanting cleans the heart. Cheto Darpana Marjanam, Lord Chaitanya said, this chanting cleans the heart. Thank you for chanting and coming and taking part in this wonderful movement. Yes, please.
First of all, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you.
And I would like to ask a question. I don't know if we did tonight or not. I just arrived. Humbly, if it's possible, we send like a good vibration for these people that are fighting right now, like Russia and Ukraine. Is there anyhow we all together here send a vibration for
Of
them?
course, we can say one Maha Mantra for their benefit. Please, all of you chant Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Devotees are doing that all over the world. So that vibration is...
Definitely it's reaching there. Undoubtedly. You know?
So here's a question that I've contemplated for quite a while. And
Yes.
it has to do with the moment that we leave our body, that moment.
Yes.
We'll just call it a moment in my question. So we know the ultimate best way is to chant Krishna's name, to remember Krishna.
Correct, yes.
So we have a form, we're all sitting here in human form. And the jiva has a form waiting for the jiva soul in Vaikuntha, or the spiritual world, Goloka.
Yes.
Is there a form in between, an interim form? So we leave, do we take on another form before we arrive, or is it automatic?
No, the thing is, as Prabhupada explained it, the spiritual body is already there, but it's covered by the material consciousness, by the
Yes.
material body. When devotees make a spiritual advancement, progress in life, the more advancement they make, that spiritual body start appearing in our consciousness. We will become aware who we are in Krishna's pastimes.
Nice. Thank you.
That will be revealed in the course of time when the Guru and Krishna will reveal that when we are ready, of course.
Of course, yes. You
Yes.
have to be ready. Thank you. Good. There's no interim. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much for asking the question. And also, when devotees, they get that revelation, when they die, they go not to Goloka or Vaikuntha. They go to Gokula, where Krishna is performing his pastime in another universe, where there is Gokula Vrindavan there. And they have to take birth there from the womb of a gopi, and they become either Krishna's servant or friend or parents or lovers like the gopis, and they are trained there by the eternal companions of Krishna. And that when Krishna leaves that universe, he takes them all the way to Goloka from there. Then they are already introduced. It's not that you arrive in Goloka and who's this? We don't know. Nobody knows who's that person, you know. We have to become first part of Krishna's family first. In this world, in the material world, when Krishna comes, of course.
So is this the case when... That brings up second question. Is this the case, for example, where the jivas all pass their body on the battlefield of Kurukshetra, for example?
Yes.
They were liberated. So
Not
then-
all, I mean, the two types of liberation.
Okay.
Those who are devotees, they go to Vaikuntha. And those who are not devotees, they go to the Brahma Jyoti, Brahman, impersonal liberation. Two types of liberation. To two kind of people in Kurukshetra. But yes, you are correct. Everybody gets liberated.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome. Hare Krishna. Any last question? Very good. Yes, all right.
Dandavats Maharaj, thank you so
Hare
much for
Krishna.
coming. Hare Krishna. I'm not sure how much time we have, but I was hoping maybe you could give us a little mercy and share with us a little maybe story of how you met your spiritual master, Bhaktivedanta Srila Prabhupada Maharaj.
Thank you for asking. She's asking me how I met my spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. I met him in South America. He also went there to Venezuela in 1975, February 75. And before I met him, I was searching for a guru, for a spiritual master. I used to lament why I wasn't born at the time of Jesus. I will be one of the followers to learn about God, you know, how to approach God, love God. And I must have some sincerity to desire that, because shortly after that, one friend of mine gave me a book of Prabhupada. And as soon as I read it, I immediately became interested. I want to know more. You don't have more of, because it was a very small book. I asked him, do you have more of this? No, I don't. That's the only book. Where can I get more of this book? He said, well, the Hare Krishna, where I can find him? Oh, I don't know. You know, and I was living in another city, like 10 hours by car from the capital where the temple was. And I started practicing yoga, became vegetarian and everything. And my friend invited me to visit the yoga center just opened in Bogota, in Colombia, neighboring country. So we went there, and then we went to the vegetarian restaurant, and I told my friend, I just got an idea. He told me, yes, share it, please, you know. I told him, do you see this big building through the window? This is made by man. And do you see here on the table this beautiful fragrant roses? These are made by God. And if God can make such beautiful thing, imagine how beautiful God must be. But unfortunately, I don't know Him yet. But I promise you, the day I will come to know God in true, I will give Him my life. I will surrender my life to Him. And my friend said, that's very nice thought, but take it easy on me. We were very close friends, you know, so he was worried to lose me, you know. Anyway, a few days after, we went to Caracas to visit some friend, and one devotee stopped us and offered us the books. Of course, I bought all the books and he invited us to the temple. He said we have a loving Sunday feast. We read Bhagavad Gita, we chant mantras, we dance, we have nice vegetarian food offered to God, to Krishna. Please come, it's for free. I said, yes, sounds very interesting. We want to know. So we went to the temple. And as soon as we entered the temple, the devotee welcomed us, you know. And I told them, can I ask you a question? They say, yes. I said, I read in the Bible we are made in the image of God. Can you please tell me how God looks like? I had this question since I was a teenager. I asked a Christian priest how God looks like. I said, that's a mystery. Nobody have seen God. I was disappointed. Then I read Jesus saying, there are more truth to be told, but you are not ready to understand. Okay, he's giving permission. If you don't find it somewhere else. And that's what I did. I searched and found Prabhupada. When I met Prabhupada the first time, it was like, you know, he looked at me in the eyes while we are dancing, chanting in front of him. I felt the temple like floating in mid-air, you know. I can tell you more after you want because we are run out of time. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Hare Krishna.